Hello and welcome back to the Science Center in Ithaca, New York. We're in the animal room for another tour. Thanks for joining me. My name is Colin. I'm the curator of live exhibits. And we're going to take a quick trip around the animal room. Check out some of our critters. Hopefully learn some fun things about our animals. Right now we're currently looking at our stream exhibit in the New York Native room. There I see our bullfrog right in the middle of the screen. You know, if she stays there, I tried to show you all some ways to tell bullfrogs from green frogs and males from females, and had a little trouble because they wouldn't cooperate, so we'll try to take another quick look at that. Let's see if I can wheel you all around to the side here. So our bullfrog is a female, whereas our green frog is a male. And the way that you can tell the difference in their gender, and this is true for both species, is that a female's tympanic membrane, the thing behind her eye that's kind of like an eardrum, similar to it. For a female, the tympanic membrane is the same size as a male, whereas for a male, their tympanic membrane is much larger than their eyeball. It is larger than a female's and it's larger than their eyeball. So it's that relative size between the tympanic membrane and the eyeball. Let me see if she will be brave enough to get us in there to take a quick look. Pull the camera around here. There's a nice view of our Lower Taganic Falls. She often gets skittish when I open the door. She loves my keepers more than she loves me. She'll often try to eat their fingers, whereas when I come around, she just hops away. Now, just as I said, she's off, but she's staying underwater. Let me see if I can get a good look at her down there. She's hanging out right next to our painted turtle. Painted turtle doesn't know what to make of her. There she is down there. Got a decent look at her, though it's through the rippling water, so kind of hard to see there. You can see she has her special eyelid closed that protects her eyes when she's underwater. That's why her eyes look kind of cloudy and white there. And it's kind of hard to see. And there's the painted turtle. But her tympanic membrane is the same size, just about, as her eyeball. Well, that's our bullfrog. I haven't seen the green frog. Oh, actually, I just found it. It's hiding in the back here. Let's see if he'll let us take a look at him. Our green frog has, on more than one occasion, been inside the mouth of our bullfrog. Bullfrogs are voracious predators. They love to eat anything they can fit into their mouths, including other frogs. So we'll come take a look back here. In fact, when bullfrogs are present, it has been found that they will suppress green frog populations. That is, there will be far fewer green frogs when you have bullfrogs around. They just get gobbled up. It's unfortunate. There we go. So here's our green frog. Because he gets harassed by the female sometimes, he's got a few hiding spots. He's got a few spots he can actually climb underneath our waterfall here and stay hidden away from that female. So the lighting's not so great on him. It's kind of hard to see his tympanic membrane. Let's see if it'll let me get in close here. There we go. How about that? There's a good view of our green frog. Still a little hard to see, but his tympanic membrane is bigger than his eyeball. And so that's the way to tell the males from females. The males have that big tympanic membrane behind the eye. The females have a tympanic membrane the same size as their eye. And then actually, while we're in here close looking, we can see the way you tell the difference between a male and to tell the difference between a green frog and a bullfrog is that skin fold running down the back there. So you see that line of skin that goes from the tympanic membrane right down the green frog's back. And all green frogs will have that skin fold on them. Bullfrogs do not have that skin fold. They have a skin fold, kind of like this guy seems to have from this angle. They have a skin fold that goes right around their tympanic membrane. It's sort of like the glasses hooking onto their ears. So the bullfrogs have the skin fold around the tympanic membrane. Green frogs have the skin fold down the back. So that's the way you can tell those two species apart. Otherwise, green frogs and bullfrogs look very similar. Sometimes they're quite green, sometimes they're quite brown. They're often mottled. There's really almost no way to tell the difference between them based on their color or pattern. You can tell by their calls as well. If you hear them call, they have quite different calls. It is only males that call, so occasionally our male green frog here will give some croaks. The females never call. So that's our green frog. Oh, and look who's popped her head up back over here. And there's our bullfrog again. There she goes. She likes to hide in that overflow spot. That's where the water goes back into the filter. And she likes to climb in there where she feels safe and secure. While bullfrogs like to eat just about anything they can fit into their mouth, pretty much everything else that could fit a bullfrog into their mouth will happily eat them if they get the chance. Raccoons and herons, great blue herons eat lots and lots of frogs. Oh, here's our painted turtle. She wanted to come say hi before we take off and look at something else. Staying under the water there. There we go. Giving us a little eye. Wondering if I have some worms for her. Unfortunately, I don't. Painted turtles are wonderful little turtles. Okay, let's move on and check out something else. While we're in here, we'll take a look at a few more of our native critters. Here are our brook trout. Let me get a good close-up look of them real quick. We can zoom right in on their tank. These, I think, are just gorgeous fish. Got these beautiful light spots on a dark background. And they've got the white leading edge on their fins. That's just really glows. On the camera here, it doesn't show up super well, but in person, those white fin edges just look beautiful. Again, I'll thank NANFA, the North American Native Fish Association, for giving us the grant that was able to put a chiller on this tank so that we could keep brook trout in here. While we're looking at these guys, I already gave them their food for the day, but I gave them a small meal knowing that we'd be walking around in here together. So let me get a little more food. We can watch them eat. It's always fun. They get super active and excited when the food comes in. There you go, get you focused just right. These guys we primarily feed trout pellets to. It's a well-formulated, balanced diet for trout. As many of you all know, tons and tons of trout are raised in hatcheries to support our local fishing anglers, to support our local anglers and the fishing economy. Lots of people love to go out in the spring when they stock the streams with trout and have fun catching them. They always come down to this end most when they're feeding. So I always enjoy seeing them get so active when the food comes around. Trout are pretty voracious predators. They are, I believe, the apex predator in their habitats. In the streams where they naturally were found, they are the main predator. They will eat just about anything they can fit into their mouth. Our native trout are generally insectivores. They usually just eat insects, but as they grow and get large, they'll happily start taking other small fish that they can catch. Okay, let's swing you all around. Let's say a quick hi to one of our... Oh, we got two of them poking their heads out. There's the cute face of one of our spotted salamanders. And I find these animals just cute as a dickens. Got those contemplative, smug little faces. They're so still and quiet. Here's another one. Hanging out back here. We'll come around this side. See the spots a little better. Sorry about all the reflection there. You can see their beautiful yellow spots. These guys, as I've mentioned before, you will typically only see these guys in the springtime during the salamander migration. They spend most of their life in the forest underground, but during the first warm rain of spring, they'll come out en masse and head down to whatever ponds or ephemeral pools they grew up in typically, and the males will lay spermatophores for the females to come along and pick up to fertilize their eggs, and then females will lay big batches of eggs that will grow into little larval tadpole-like creatures, and then they grow up, metamorphose into an adult form, and then head up into the woods where they spend the vast majority of their life living under logs and rocks and catching little critters slithering or crawling by. So those are our spotted salamanders. And we'll take a quick look at our eastern newts here. One underwater. This is where you typically find an eastern newt, living underwater like that. Eastern newts are the most common salamander in our country, possibly in the world. They have a huge range all across North America. Here's an adult that is up out of the water, which is an unusual place to find them. Typically in the wild, you'll never find an adult newt out of the water. For some reason in captivity here, they like to climb up out of the water at times. That's our eastern newt. They've got a neat juvenile phase. Many may have seen in the woods or in fields called red F's. They're bright red. They have some toxins in them, and that red color is called aposematic coloration. It warns would-be predators that they're toxic, and they'll get sick if they try to eat one. Here's our little Angolan python, looking through the dirty glass. He's a great little snake. He's still pretty young, just a couple years old, but he's growing well. Has a great temperament. This is a snake that we often get out to meet guests. Once we open back up, we'll be happily get this guy out for you all to come and meet. So there's AP hiding under his camel skull. Those big, frightening teeth. And here, this is our carpet chameleon cage. I did a pretty major thinning when we first shut down, but it's starting to grow back pretty well now. He's hanging out up here at the top. There he is. Beautiful little lizard. Doesn't have on his most impressive colors now. I came and opened the cage up before the tour so that I could give it something to try. And he never likes it when I'm messing with his cage. He always just wants to be left alone. Unfortunately, while many people are afraid of reptiles, think that they could get hurt by them, it is generally reptiles that get hurt by people and other creatures. They are so often preyed upon. I'm going to try to get you all set up here. See if I can do this. He's a little further off than I was hoping. Let's see if I can get that camera a little bit closer. I'm going to try to give this guy a feed and see if we can watch him eat. I don't want to make you look into the light too much there. Try to get that just right. These guys have a pretty spectacular tongue. We often think of frogs having long, sticky tongues. And while most frogs do feed with their tongue, and it is sticky and will help them catch food, very few frogs actually shoot their tongue out at any length. It's chameleons that have that really awesome trait. So let me see if I can get him enticed on this cricket here. He might be a little too afraid of my hand to go for this cricket. Oh, and then I dropped it. Oh, I think I squeezed our cricket a little too hard. Yeah, darn it. I killed my cricket. Do have another one here. Let me see if I can grab another one, see if we can get this guy to eat. Oh. Oh, goodness. Ah. No, I'm not having great luck here. This is a hard enough task to do in person. A lot more difficult to do when I gotta try to man a camera while I feed the chameleon. Hopefully I'm not making you all too dizzy spinning the camera around here. Oh, that didn't work. Leave him alone, see if he goes for it on his own. No, he's looking interested. I think he might do it. Chameleons have independent moving eyes. Oh, here he goes. Oh, he did it! We got it! How exciting. I hope you all caught that. That tongue shooting out and grabbing that cricket. They have independent eyes, so they can move their eyes. Each eye can move in its own direction. So there you can see that eye right now is looking back on me. I'm having trouble holding this camera still. And he sees the movement, is keeping a close eye on me, making sure I'm not going to bother him. He grabbed that cricket, but I think my movement's making him wary and he's not chewing it down. That was fun. That wasn't half as far as he can shoot his tongue. This guy can shoot his tongue longer than his entire body, including his tail. It's a pretty spectacular trait. So, that's our carpet chameleon. Get that cage closed up. And then we'll keep moving on. And there goes our carpet chameleon. And then here are our rhino rat snakes. Got our female up in the tree here. She's still basking, hopefully gestating some eggs. Our male's down here taking a bath, tucked away in that water bowl. These snakes do come from swamp-like habitats, so they are well used to being in the water. Thick jungle growth and lots of pools and streams and water, and they will actually hunt fish in the wild, as well as many other small creatures. Let me swing you all around. We'll take a quick look at our green tree pythons, some of my favorite animals in the collection. Here's our male. He is hanging out doing his daytime green tree python thing. These guys are nocturnal, which means they're active at night. They don't do a whole lot in the day except try to look like some leaves on a tree branch so that nobody bothers them and eats them. There are many predators in the jungles they live in that will happily catch and eat a green tree python. There you can see her blue lips. They're in the heat sensing pits around her mouth. These are really spectacular animals. And as I've said a number of times on these tours, I am almost positive that our green tree python female here is gravid, which means she's gestating eggs. So hopefully in the next month or two she'll lay those eggs. And this time around, unlike last year, I'll pull the eggs, and I have an incubator that will set them up in, and hopefully get them to hatch, and we'll have some beautiful little green tree python babies. And they'll be fun too. I think from this pair we should be able to get both red and yellow babies. They start off with beautiful bright colors and then slowly change to the green as they mature. I'm just going to show you our tokay gecko too, but he's off hiding right now. I don't know where he is. Let's swing you all around. We will take, we've got a few more minutes. We'll come on over here. I didn't clean this cage up. Might be hard to see anybody in here. There's one of our Rhotus dart frogs hiding behind the foggy, messy glass. See if I can spot a Pumilio in here. No, I don't see one right now. Let's move on. Let me see if I can give you a good look at our White's tree frogs. This is our white tree frog exhibit. It is set up with the siding and the downspout on it because these frogs, they come from Australia, and it would not be uncommon at all to find White's tree frogs hanging out around your house in Australia, at least in certain parts. Get back here, we'll get a look at one. These guys are super cute. Nope. There we go. Our White's tree frogs are generally this really dark maroon color. They can be anywhere from this color to green, and they can change color. I have read that their color will be based on either temperature or humidity, but I have gone to great lengths to change temperature and humidity to see if I can't get these guys to turn green, and they always stay this maroon. I say always. A few times when I've been here late at night, in the middle of the night, these guys turn quite green at nighttime. They still have a hint of the maroon to them. They never turn totally green, but they do change much more green at nighttime. So that's been an interesting observation. So that's our White's tree frog. These guys have a really neat adaptation. Where they come from, it can often get incredibly dry in the summers. And frogs, with their moist, permeable skin, are prone to drying out when things get dry. And so what these White's tree frogs can do is they will hunker down into the dirt, into the mud while it's still wet and they feel the dryness coming, and they'll secrete mucus all around their body that sort of becomes like a cocoon. And they're able to hang out inside of that for months on end, keeping from drying out down there and waiting for the rains to come. And then when the rains do come and the soil moistens up, then they'll come emerging through that cocoon and climb back out of the earth and start doing their froggy thing again. Pretty cool adaptation these guys have. So that's our White's tree frog. And then lastly, we'll come look at our axolotls. Axolotls are a type of salamander. They come from central Mexico. They have a very limited habitat, and these guys in the wild are quite endangered. There are not a lot of them left. In fact, most of the wild natural habitat that they came from is gone, and now they're typically found in just drainage ditches in the area where they originally were from. So it's an unfortunate case of habitat loss, where these guys have a very limited population in the wild. Fortunately, we're focusing on my reflection. There we go. There's a fun face shot of this guy. Yeah, so they've had habitat loss. Fortunately, or perhaps unfortunately, I'm not quite sure. It's a good thing that there are so many. There are lots and lots of these guys in captivity. These guys have an amazing power of regeneration, or regenerative powers, I should say. If they are to lose a body part, if something comes and pecks off one of their arms, they will just grow a new one. It's pretty incredible that they can do it, and they do it quite quickly too. And these guys, you may look at these and think, oh, those are juvenile salamanders because they still have their external gills. These are the feathery things on the back of the head right here. I'm trying to get you some views without the reflection. Having some trouble there though. Come back around to the head. So they have these feathery gills on the back of their head. And all juvenile salamanders, all larval salamanders, have those external gills. That is one way to tell a tadpole from a salamander larva, a frog tadpole, is that the salamanders will always have these external gills. But virtually almost all salamanders, when they start getting close to adulthood, will typically leave the water and go through a metamorphosis where they absorb those external gills and look like what most of us think of salamanders, without having these feathery gills on them. But these guys, for some reason, never go through that metamorphosis, and they stay in an aquatic habitat their whole life, and they keep those external gills. The salamander that has that life history is called a neotenic salamander. And my understanding is that under severe stress, these guys actually can go through a metamorphosis and absorb those gills, and it allows them to perhaps look for a new environment to live in, a new place. If there's water shortages or pollution or something like this, they have that ability to try to colonize new habitats. But I think it's a very difficult thing for them, and I think their lifespan isn't generally too long after they go through that metamorphosis. And again, it is only induced by severe stress, so it is not something that I have ever experienced, even with all of the axolotls I've worked with. So there's our axolotls. That's going to wrap up my tour for the day. I will try to find a fun exhibit to stick you all on. Why don't we go back and watch those trout some more? Well, I appreciate you all tuning in. It's always fun getting to show off our collection to folks, even if it has to be a virtual tour. Well, you can tune in next Tuesday for another tour. Hopefully I will be here to do that one for you all. I am having my arm repaired tomorrow, having a bit of surgery, and so there is a chance that I won't make it in on Tuesday. And if that is the case, my spectacular keeper Emily has said that she will cover the tour for me. So you'll get to check things out with her. Oh, there we go. I'm scaring all our cichlids away as I come creeping up on them. While we're here, why not give them a little extra food too? see these guys get active and excited about their food. Or maybe not. These guys had been very well trained to always come running when they would see me in my blue shirt. But now that we're closed and I don't usually wear my Science Center shirt anymore when I come in, they seem to not be as well trained as they used to be. There you can see them darting all around. These fish are still young, so these guys would be heavily predated in the wild, and so like most young animals, they are quite skittish and active and move all about to try to not get eaten. But luckily here they don't have that problem to worry about. Okay, let me slide you all around and we will come and look at our trout tank. I'd like to get you all out and see our trout in the classroom tank. It's just out here around the corner. They're growing quite well, looking really good, but I don't think my cords are long enough to get me there. Maybe sometime in the future I'll figure out how to get a longer cord and get you all over there to see those trouts. Unfortunately, with our societal shutdown, put a wrench in Discovery Cayuga Lake's plans with the Trout in the Classroom program, and they had to scramble to get many of the trout released early since teachers wouldn't be in the schools to take care of them. But they've done a great job making some videos. If you want to check those out, go to Discovery Cayuga Lake and you can see some of the release videos they made of the trout that kids in 4th grade classrooms around the county were raising up. If our social distancing rules get loosened in time, we may be able to have a release event with the trout we have here, but time will tell. We'll have to see how things go. Well, take care, stay safe, stay healthy, stay socially distant, and I'll talk to you again soon. So long.